Sure you did. You kids always ask for something. And don't you worry now, 'cause you're gonna get it. The room and the man began to fade away. See you next year, kid. I get the feeling that you and I are going to be a part of each other's lives for a long time. Those were the last words I heard. Pure witness consumed me, and then I slept peacefully. My eyes opened. Outside the house I could see the grey sky that signaled that the approaching dawn. The house was eerily quiet. Too quiet. I stayed fixed in my bed on the floor, listening for any signs to life of my aunt and uncle. But I could only hear my own heartbeat. I wanted to sit up and look over to them, but I was too afraid of what I'd find. The dream felt so real. I wasn't sure what to think. I continued to listen. Please, I whispered to myself, let me hear their breath. Several minutes passed. I still heard nothing. Tears began to streaming down my face and my pillow became wet. I knew deep inside that eventually I would have to look and see if they were okay. I couldn't lay on the floor all day, but my gut instinct told me that I didn't want to witness what was up there. Drawing upon my deepest strength, I put my hands over my eyes and sat up. Slowly I moved a single finger from my eye. It was teary and my hand became wet. There was no blood. No gore. I pulled my hands away from my face. I could see Uncle Anton's chest clearly rise and fall. He was sleeping peacefully and very quiet. Aunt Janine turned in her sleep and mumbled a few nonsense words before resuming her silent rest. I smiled, then I laughed in relief. I could see no evidence that the man had been there. It was still early, but any sense of sleepiness had been pushed away from me earlier of the dread. I stood up and walked over to the mirrored closet door. I looked at my red eyes and wiped them dry, while behind me I could see the reflection of my aunt and uncle sleeping soundly. There was no need to wake them. I left my room with the intent of getting something to eat, most likely a bowl of cereal. I walked down the hallway and passed by the alarm panel on the wall. All the lights were green. The doors, the window, they were all secure. Nobody could have gotten in. Now fully relaxed, I passed through the living room on my way to the dining area. That's when I saw it, sitting right on top of the dinner room table. I froze in place and looked all around to see if there was anyone that could put it there, but everything else as it should have been, was it? I turned again to the table and stared at the beautifully wrapped gift box that definitely hadn't been there the night before. It was a large box, maybe about 18 inches square. The wrapping paper that covered it was bright red with sparkles all over it. A pretty green covered the top. My aunt and uncle had agreed that we wouldn't celebrate Christmas that year. Yet there sat a gift box atop of the dining room table. I walked slowly towards the gift, step by step. I stood up on one of those dining room chairs so that I could see the top of the giant gifts. Whoever had wrapped it had taken their time. The box lid wrapped separately from the box itself. I lifted it up, and I peered inside. There was no fade to white for me that time. No, I saw exactly what was in the box, and I simultaneously... 3 truths occurred to me. The first truth was that the man had been in my house, despite all the security measures. He had gotten in, and without a word, raising a single alarm. The second truth was that the man had been right. I'd asked for something without even realizing it. The third truth was that the sinking acceptance that his visit would be an annual occurrence. I stood there on the chair, staring into my parents' cried-out eyes, which were still in the decapitated heads, which were both in the box. I said I wanted them back, and the man, however he did it, had heard me and granted my wish in a manner befitting his evil ways. The ultimate truth that I learned from that day was that there could have been no mess-ups with my behavior, and I could want for nothing I was being constantly watched, and my mind was being continuously invaded. Bad actions would be severely punished, and even good behavior would lead to its own sick and twisted reward. And that's the story of how a very well-behaved boy became the perfectly well-behaved boy. And as a perfectly behaved boy, all my desires had to be held in check. Emotionally speaking, I had to become less than human so that the visitor would have no fuel for the wicked game he played. Of course, nobody is truly perfect, and there were slip-ups throughout the following years, times when I made a wish or asked for something. Those slip-ups were very costly to me, but I don't care to recount the full extent of them here. I think I've given enough to myself for tonight. I'm weary and beaten, but what I will tell you is that after 30 years I'm no longer afraid to finally say that I want the painful memories to go away. I don't want them anymore. I even said it out loud. I want the memories to be gone. It's cold outside right now, and it's getting late. I think I'll make myself a cup of hot cocoa with some peppermint before turning in. That will make me happy for the last time in ages. I'm calm and at peace, looking out the window. I can see all the pretty lights on the eaves of the house. I don't think I ever really had a chance to appreciate just how festival they made everything look. For a long time I just didn't care. But now I'm going to take a few minutes to enjoy them while I can. Good night everyone, and Merry Christmas.
I contend that your drinking eye is never open. I insist somebody will die, and I hate coping. Wishing that the pills let you cry, and I hate coping. Someday I will go back outside and see her okay. I contend that your drinking eye is never opened. I insist somebody will die, and I hate coping. Wishing that the pills let you cry, and I hate coping.